Hey guys, it's Jeroslyn with the True 100. We're here with Krystal Garner, the general manager of the Trap Music Museum and their Tiny Trap House exhibit.
Yes. So this is a little trap house traveling across the country, doing dope things.
So can you explain to us the difference between the Lil Trap House and the Trap Music Museum in Atlanta?
Yeah, so the Trap Music Museum in Atlanta is about 5,000 square feet. And we have an escape room called the Escape the Trap Experience. We have a full bar.
Wow.
We stay open late. We're the latest museum. And our installs, our exhibit, shout out to Sky, our set designer, she's bomb. They are very intense, just like we have here in the Lil Trap House. So Lil Trap House is a traveling portion of the museum, and we're also going to be highlighting different artists in different cities, as well as keeping the main three fathers of trap, which we consider to be Tip, Jeezy, and Gucci. So we took those exhibits and made sure we included them here in the Lil Trap House. So those will be staple pieces, but we will continue to switch things out, so you never know what you're going to see in the next city.
Oh wow! And will there be an expansion on the escape room portion to where you could take that on the road?
I'm pushing for that. I'm pushing for Escape the Trap because I'm an escape room enthusiast. I've done a lot of escape rooms, but there's no escape room like Escape the Trap. You know, you did it.
I did, and I made it, but it was crazy. Barely. So can you give us an idea of what other cities the Lil Trap House will touch down in?
So what we actually been doing is posting and asking people what cities they want us to come to. Do I have an idea? Yes, but we kind of keep it as an element of surprise.
Okay.
But we are actually paying attention to people who comment, and we are watching what cities are asking.
Brooklyn.
Everybody from New York keep asking, girl, you from New York? You gotta come to New York.
They gotta have a trap house in Brooklyn. I wanted to know is like, what has the response been to the actual Trap Music Museum in Atlanta and just in general?
Man, the response has been phenomenal because anytime you hear the story, you hear that it's a museum that we wanted to curate ourselves before someone else did it. And we get about 6,000 people per weekend, and people are lining up wrapped around the corner, traveling from across the world. We have people from New Zealand that come in, we have people from New York, we have people from everywhere traveling to Atlanta. We are mentioned in Thrillers, we're mentioned in Time Out magazine as one of the top 10 places to go in Atlanta. So it's one of those tourist spots, like when you go to ATL, it's like, I gotta go to Trap Music Museum.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that, you know, the opportunity that T.I. awarded me was to be GM of something so dope.
Right. As the general manager of the Trap Music Museum and the Lil Trap House, I wanted to get your take on it and what was the messaging behind this exhibit in particular?
So being a female GM of a Trap Music Museum, when I first got the position, I walked in the museum and I was like, wait a minute, I need some females in here, you know?
Right.
And I come from New York, so I'm a baby of hip hop, but I was like, okay, trap music, what does this mean? What's the definition? And when they were defining it, I'm like, well, Nicki's trap, Cardi's trap, City Girls are trap,
right.
You know? So we were throwing names out there, and I said, I want to have some type of female exhibit. So to test it out, this is the first female exhibit. We don't have one in the actual museum yet, but we have one here in Lil Trap House.
Right.
And you know, when we were going back and forth, I said I want to include both. You know, the team was like, you know, it's either both or none. And I was like, yes, I agree, because I want to show both of them. And it's unfortunate that we live in a time where there can only be one top female rapper. That bothers me. And that also turns people away from wanting to do things highlighting female artists, because it's always an argument.
Yeah, exactly. So would you say that the messaging behind this is that female unity, particularly within hip hop?
Exactly. So what's been a little frustrating when we were seeing all the feedback is that everyone keeps saying you split the throne, and it's not that I split the throne, it's a combination. I wanted to show unity. I wanted to show that there doesn't have to just be one queen, we're all queens.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So that was my whole mindset when we came up with the whole throne concept. I said they're sharing the throne, and it's not saying one is higher than the other or they're the same level as far as record sales and all that stuff, and you know, who produced this and all that type of stuff. It wasn't about that. It was about just showing that women can be highlighted without saying that only one woman is the best.
Exactly. Question, there is a debate going on right now in hip hop in regards to rappers like Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. And a prominent person in hip hop, Jermaine Dupri, had said that a lot of the female rappers that are popping right now sound like strippers.
What does that mean?
What is your take on that as a fan of female rappers?
Honestly, I think, it's kind of unfair because if you take the time out to listen to hip hop, listen to all artists and what they rap about, then that means whatever they rap about, you're going to associate them to be just that. That's kind of like when people made comments about Jay-Z being a drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? People went through, and if they have stripped in their past, fine. And they're telling their story.
Right.
And that's fine with me.
Right.
But I think it's unfair to shun them off like that when they're telling their story. You got to respect their story. That's the whole purpose of this music.
Yeah.
And why we like it so much.
Pretty much.
And but I also don't understand what you mean by they rap like strippers, or they rap because they were strippers, or I'm trying to understand the context of what you're trying to say. But if that's the case, then every rapper that raps about drugs is a drug dealer.
Exactly.
If they rap about murder, they're murderer. It's just
right.
It doesn't really make sense.
So would you say an exhibit like this kind of defines that whole art? Not defines the argument, but kind of puts the seal on it, saying like they're trapping, whether you're calling them a stripper or not. We praise all these other rappers for talking about what they had to do. Can't get mad at someone who stripped and made money and used it to fund their career.
Exactly. But my whole thing is with Trap Music Museum, our goal was to showcase the lifestyle that these artists, went through, that they grew past, they grew over, they were their stepping stones. We wanted to tell the true story, and we wanted it to come from us. Right. So you can see what what music you're turning up to right now. This is what they went through to get to that point. I remember one time we had an artist from Mass Appeal do a walkthrough, and when he walked into Grandma's living room, he started crying. And I said, "Why are you crying?" He said, "Because I just left this, and I just got signed to a label." Wow. You know what I'm saying? And that moment right there was like, for me, was just the best feeling ever. I just was like, oh my gosh, wow, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to show you what these people overcame, and now look at them now. So the same thing about women in hip hop. If you stripped, fine.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Whatever. We're still turning up to the music. We're still twerking.
Exactly.
It's all about I was gonna say.
Unity. You are the winner of Grand Hustle, his first ever competition show to work for him. Can you give us, just tell us a bit of how much your life has changed since winning?
You know how much my life changed. Since the glow that she out the project,
I do know she did. She did.
Living better, and bills paid early. Yes. It's a blessing. But I would say
bills paid early. Make sure you caught that.
Early.
When you can say that, that's a blessing.
It is a blessing. But I would say I think the best part of all of this is just people getting to hear my story, just having an opportunity to share my story, because you would think, being from where I'm from and all the stuff that I've went through and grown past, that I shouldn't or wouldn't even be in this place.
Right.
And getting the opportunity to share with anybody, kids, adults, anytime I'm asked to do a speaking engagement, I like to share that story because there's somebody in that room that might be in that same situation I was before. And I'm saying, over here making chicken pad thai with ramen noodles with some sasum dobo and canned chicken, It's real, but you can come up out of that and then be going to get steak and lobster.
Yes. Last question. We know that T.I. is really big on philanthropy and just giving back to his community in general. How is he using the Trap Museum to give back to his community?
So first off, what I love about us, we do get artwork from everyone. So we like to highlight a lot of local artists or people that even DM us on Instagram. I check all our DMs, I check all our emails, I forward them over to my art director, we talk with the team, we take in new artwork. So that's one aspect, just uplifting the art community and combining it with the music community in Atlanta. And then we're working on a whole bunch of other initiatives with different people. I've been meeting with a lot of people to do some more amazing collaborations, to do stuff for kids. We just did something with Fresh Empire, and we're gonna do some more stuff with them. So my goal, as well as my team's goal, is just to maximize that 5,000 square space to give people an opportunity to feel like they can make it out the bluff, because that's where we're located.
And actually, when you were answering this last question, I thought of the last question, because I do know you personally, y'all. This is my ADP.
Don't edit that out.
Yeah, I will not, because we roll deep. Because I know you, and you were talking about how you have to review artwork and send it to your art director, and I know that you yourself are an artist and you actually draw and paint. Can you talk about how things come around full circle and really to just be patient with God's timing? Can you just touch on that for a second?
Yeah, honestly, I would have never known that I would be curating a museum. Like, I never thought that would be something I'd be doing. My dad was an artist, my nana used to sew, my mom used to model, and it's like all of the things that my parents did is like I've touched on. So being back in the art world and having the opportunity to just see people's visions, because I know what it feels like to be painting and wanting to put it somewhere. So being able to afford that opportunity to others is so dope, and I think that it's in line with my purpose, because I've always known my purpose was to help others. So God was like, okay, you're an artist, then you know how hard it is to get your work done, and then you know how hard it is to people to appreciate it, because I went to high school fashion and my teachers used to be like super mean and tell me my stuff was trash. You know, so just going through that whole mindset of what I went through growing up through my art life, and being able to be a person to give people an opportunity to have their artwork showcased. Like, we have some artwork coming in from Spelman. We curated a partnership with their innovation lab, and they have some artwork that we're going to be putting in for Cardi and Nicki. They're helping also with the female exhibit that I'm pushing for at the Trap Music Museum. So, you know, it just feels good to be able to give people an opportunity to get out there their passion.
Yeah.
You know, that's God though. That's my guy.
Yes. All right.
What's going on? I'm Krystal Garner, winner of BET's The Grand Hustle featuring T.I., General Manager of Trap Music Museum, as well as Lil Trap House. And I'm keeping it 100 on The True 100.